She arrived at my house at 7 a.m. to confess that she had been secretly in love with me for 15 years after making a harmless joke about a child who looked like me at the pool. My wife and I have a 5-year-old boy. Since we are getting close to our 40s, the majority of our acquaintances are couples with children, so many of our get-togethers now involve whole families, including children. This can occasionally indicate a large number of adults and children. One of these individuals, Emma, fictitious name, was my college roommate. We rarely spend time alone, but occasionally we spend time with her and her spouse. She was married and has children of her own. Emma is also frequently late. All of this is pertinent to the narrative. Being an only child, we occasionally fear that our son won't truly learn how to share or get along with other children. In order to avoid this, even though I enjoy spending time with him, I occasionally encourage him to interact with other children while we are at the beach, the pool, or public playgrounds. In order to achieve this, I get him a water pistol, an RC car, or something like. Usually I would only purchase 2 or 3. When another child expressed interest in the toys, I would simply say, "Oh, you want to play with us?" after I had arrived at the playground and had played with him, and give him the pistol, the remote, or whatever else to get the kids to play. This usually works really well, and I get along well with the parents in our area. This is also pertinent. About a year ago, my wife and I had planned to take our child to the swimming pool. I load up my big pool toy bag. She's trying to find something to do with the kids while her spouse is away that day. I speak with my wife and let Emma know that we're going to the neighborhood pool and that she's welcome to come along. However, since we intend to arrive early, she can come whenever she wants. We get to the pool quite early and secure a great place alongside the shallows. I take out some water pistols and begin playing world domination with my children. Water pistols are the only weapon that can stop me from taking over the planet. It's a full thing. A child enjoys it so much that another one soon follows. A student from my son's kindergarten class is involved. He and his mother are present. Of course, he's welcome to come. We are familiar with the family. My wife and mother get along well, and our children frequently play together. When my wife says she wants to go swimming, the mother of the child says she would like to go too and asks me if I'm free to watch the kids. By now, the kids are shooting water guns at each other, and I'm just lounging by the pool, periodically having to shout, "Oh no, my plans for world domination are ruined." I answer, "Sure," because sometimes that's the nature of being a parent. Then Emma arrives with her children. She is overjoyed to see me. I also give her children toys. Everything is going smoothly. When my son's friend approaches and requests another toy, I go ahead and give it to him. "Oh my God," says Emma. "Adorable. He resembles you exactly." "Okay, cool," I say with a laugh. But this isn't my kid, to her credit. The child does resemble me in certain ways, which makes this rather amusing. When the mother of the child and my wife return, I share this tale with them. They think it's hilarious too. We all laugh amicably. But we don't give it any thought. Let's go back a few months. Emma hasn't been around in a long time. We're having a get-together with our pals, and everyone had a great time. As the day draws to a close, Emma and I are at the door, and she is gathering her belongings while I make my second journey out of the car, picking up filthy dishes, children's toys, clothes, Tupperware with leftovers I want, etc. I stop and say hello to Emma's husband. "Would you please invite my wife and child over? Just be certain that it's my child and not just any youngster who vaguely resembles me." It's a funny callback, in my opinion. He is perplexed and perhaps irritated. "What the hell am I talking about?" he says. "Why would he call an unidentified child?" I tell him the pool story because I'm equally perplexed. He doesn't chuckle. Emma also doesn't laugh. Now it all feels a little weird. I clumsily bid my wife and child farewell, and we depart. I text Emma later that day to see how she's doing. I never hear back. A few days later I text once more. No response. Although I clearly feel like I made a mistake, I won't push the conversation if she doesn't want to talk to me. I leave well enough alone. At worst, I assumed she was upset about a joke I told that was obviously offensive. I completely underestimated the consequences of my prank. She was present when I arrived at a friend's house a few days ago. No children, as this is an engagement party. My wife was at home with our child, so I decided to attend at the last minute even though I wasn't meant to. Emma is furious when she sees me. She had no intention of doing so. The only reason she came was because she assumed I wouldn't be present. But she does use it as an occasion to tear me a new one. She confronts me in front of everybody. Her spouse was upset because of my joke, which was first stated using air quotes. She had previously made a remark about someone else's child, looking like someone who wasn't his father, based on what she stated and what I later learned from common friends. However, because that man was cheating, and that was his child, the entire situation caused family strife in Emma's husband's family, and many people were deeply harmed as a result. Emma's spouse was incensed, seemingly believing she would be wise enough to refrain from making remarks about children resembling humans. This drove them into a downward spiral, particularly because the husband seemed to believe she had given me that other family tragedy, and that I was making fun of him for his family problems. When I realized I had made a mistake, he believed the narrative I had told was merely a front for her. I was unaware of the entire incident. Emma told him. But he didn't believe her. They are now apart as a result. She accuses me of ruining her marriage and calls me a jerk. I'm really sorry, I'm not a combative person. I respond that I had no idea and that she ought to have spoken up if she didn't want me to share the story. I'm making excuses, she says. It's a scene now. I hurriedly congratulate the couple and apologize profusely once again before leaving. The engaged pair is now upset with me as well after I was informed that this was anything anyone may discuss at the celebration. Now that everyone is aware of Emma's drama, she is even more irate. On all platforms, I have been unfriended and unfollowed. Some friends believe the prank was harmless, and that I couldn't have known any better. Some friends claim that putting her under the bus was incredibly inconsiderate, that I am the worst jerk ever. Emma's best friend, who I also knew in college, believes that I was aware of her husband's affair. In order to get away with being harsh, I'm now just covering my own ass. Some of my pals have stopped talking to me after a few days. Others believe that the marriage was doomed in the first place and that she is incorrect to blame me. I still feel terrible about the joke, though, and I clearly wouldn't have made it if I had realized it would cause difficulty. I didn't want to hurt Emma because I like her. I liked her spouse, too. I would like to suggest that perhaps he was wrong to let the marriage to fall apart due to a dumb joke, but I can't say that he's wrong or overreacting because I don't truly know his family's history or turmoil, nor the details of his relationship with Emma. It's just a whole lot of crap. However, my wife kind of supported me. The joke, in her opinion, was funny, and genuinely believes that the fact that I ended their marriage makes it even more hilarious because really, she encouraged me to submit this because she enjoys reading bizarre Reddit posts as well. It's wonderful that I at least have the going for me. Okay, AITA, commenter one's comments, where the operator has responded. No, it sounds like her entire in-law family has deceived her, and she is being held responsible for someone else's adultery. In fact, I feel sorry for her. Actually, I hadn't considered that. She must be having a terrible time with it all. In a few days, I'll try to speak with her once more and try to resolve the issue, since she is a friend and is obviously going through difficult times. Even though she called me out during the party, I'm not entirely happy about it. I've known her for more than 15 years, so I dunno. Considering that everyone in your group is meant to be friends, I'm wondering whether you tried to explain things to the spouse. Please comment her as well. What did he say if you did get in touch with him? I didn't. Oop. And most likely won't because he and I were never that close. He wasn't exactly the friendliest guy, at least not with me, but I still liked him plenty. Commenter 3, you provided NTA Emma's husband an out when he asked for one. You shouldn't have even offered an apology because it wasn't your fault. Nothing about your joke was incorrect. To be honest, your group of pals seems to thrive on drama, therefore you'd be better off avoiding the folks that supported Emma. Not at all, commenter 4. And I adore how she loses it on you, reveals her private problems in public, and then accuses you of being the reason that everyone found out about it. October 19th, 2024, Update 1. The past few hours have been, so I'm giving you an update now. A great deal. It turns out that I omitted a crucial piece of context when I published my post because I mistakenly believed I was an ordinary person leading a typical life. As it happens, I am Chaz, a supporting character in the worst episode of Gossip Girl ever. I made the decision to get in touch with Emma one last time after writing yesterday, reading the responses, and giving it some thought. Some of you believed that these were not my monkeys and that I shouldn't have. Others helped me recognize that Emma was likely being gaslighted and in a shady scenario with her husband and his family. It's important to recognize that, although we are no longer as close as we once were once incredibly close. For my first date with my future wife, she assisted me in choosing a location and allowed me to use her car. She had a big role in helping me get through some really difficult times in my life. I still wanted to make amends and felt that I cared about her in spite of everything. This isn't the case anymore. From my point of view, we were close friends until she met her husband, at which point we inevitably grew away, and then this unexpected incident occurred. From her point of view, it did not appear this way. How can I tell? This is completely out of control, so fasten your seatbelt. I sent her a lengthy, reflective text message last night before turning in for the night. I clarify that I sincerely regret my role in destroying her marriage, and I am aware that she is going through a difficult period. I respect her decision if she doesn't want to interact with me anymore, but I let her handle things if and when she feels the need to talk it out. My wife is almost ecstatic when I show her this. She tells me that, like many of you suggested, I should have just cut my losses since there is no way this garbage won't blow up in my face. Emma unexpectedly arrives at my residence at approximately 7 in the morning. WTF, I ask. She claims that she has to speak with me immediately. I explain this to my wife and call her to the door. She sends me off with this woman, because she knows that this situation can only get worse, and it seems that she is complicit in it. At this point, it's my responsibility. As a result, even though I considered us to be friends, we eventually drifted apart. According to her, she has been playing a strange kind of 4D chess for the past 15 years. Or, 2 distinct 4D chess games? She was attempting to nice girl her way into a relationship with me, indicating that she had affections for me throughout her time in college, by supporting me after my father passed away. And because she simply believed that I would eventually change my mind, she always gave her everything when I was having a hard time being single. You would assume that if she or I were married, that would change that, and it did, but terribly. It seems that her spouse was aware of her emotions, which is why he consistently avoided me. He specifically urged her to stop meeting with me outside of big social events, yet we never drifted away. The day at the swimming pool? It's true that she was accusing him of cheating on her while he was abroad, and he disliked her spending time with me in her skimpy attire. He wasn't only offended by the humor. He was unhappy because it seemed like I was caressing his face while having an affair with his wife. Doesn't make sense? I am aware. Things worsen. That wedding-related item? She didn't plan that, at least. I informed our pals who were getting engaged that I would not be attending. She inquired and confirmed this. They informed her that I wouldn't be there, so she wasn't expecting to see me, but she took advantage of the fact that I did. She wanted to make a big deal out of us so she could tell her friends and her estranged husband that I had ambushed her because she ended our affair. Our relationship? It seems that we had an affair. What is that affair? You inquire. So did I. It seems that the story that some people heard was that I was stalking her after our affair ended. When her spouse learned, he left her. People who were more likely to believe her simply assumed that was what had happened and no longer wanted to interact with me. Why, therefore, did her spouse really depart? Well, a few of you made the call. He was generally not a good person and was cheating on her frequently. She pretended to have cheated on him without my knowledge, but she never did. They got into a heated argument after the joke at the party, which may or may not have been offensive, and he fled the house. According to what I understand, the incident involving his family involved a man having an affair with his cousin's wife, or something similar. In any case, she tells me all of this nonsense and concludes by saying that my message touched her deeply and that our friendship can still endure. Why had she hurried to arrive at 7 a.m.? She realized after reading my message that I was the only person who truly cared about her, and that everyone else in her life was phony and unconcerned. This seems like some very manipulative shit to me, and even though I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, I'm looking back on many of our past exchanges, and many of them now feel that way to me. I'm not a combative individual. I was prepared to own that I made a mistake. I'm a big jerk for making the joke since I assumed he would get the call back if he knew the tale, but perhaps some of you were right, and it was offensive. And if he didn't share a humorous tale about his wife with him. All of that criticism is acceptable to me. However, this? No fuck. I was finished. I tell her that I'm over her antics. I'm fucking done, so she can go back to her spouse, break up with him, and retain whichever pal she wants. She had essentially stopped talking to me for more than 15 years, but I'm able to forgive a lot. I was completely shocked by how one-sided it ended up being, even though I was telling her everything about my life and my emotions. It seems as though I never knew her well. Perhaps I was also involved in that. Perhaps I ignored her feelings and her cues because I was egotistical or self-centered. I'm not sure. And what do you know? Right now, it doesn't seem to matter. She told me a lot of lies. She told a lot of falsehoods. I simply don't give a damn anymore. I don't believe this friendship can be repaired in any way. What's the worst? I honestly don't sure how much of the massive update I just provided you is accurate. Perhaps she told me the whole truth. We may still be playing 4D chess even though she may have lied about everything. Who knows? No, I don't. More than anything else, this friendship is over because I can never truly trust her, even if I were to forgive everything. That's it. Since this was supposed to be a light-hearted post, and it ended up being a complete clusterfuck, there probably won't be any more updates because I'm exhausted and depressed. I apologize if my last post was easier to read or more logical. I'm just worn out after this recent event. Although I suppose I'll do some well-earned I told you so's eventually, my wife has been really supportive. She, along with the majority of my pals, is aware that there was no affair and most definitely no stalking. Well, I might try contacting some other people. Maybe they heard even worse things about me, but I'm not sure. However, I'm just finished with this. I'm going to try to move on from this situation and spend the remainder of this weekend with my family. I appreciate everyone's reading and the guidance you provided. Second update, 22nd October 2024. Some of you anticipated a quite bizarre situation. I should probably address a few points raised in the comments before providing the update. First off, I didn't mean that we actually shared a room when I mentioned that we were housemates. Together with another friend, we shared an apartment off campus. They all had separate rooms. Second, just to be clear more on this later, she just told her now ex-husband about having a long-term affair with me. Only after the outburst at the engagement party did the others learn about it. Third, there are already cameras and security at my residence. She never really got along with my dogs, so I doubt she'll try anything. Anyway, what if they were the first to notice? Now, let's get to the real update. Unfortunately, though, I don't have a recording of our talk. She does corroborate making it up in a subsequent text message that I do have. My wife suggested it could be better to let her further implicate herself and have it documented, so I didn't block her. Instead, I let her do it for a time, and after I convinced her that she had fabricated the affair, I stopped replying. I received progressively angry texts, but yesterday there was nothing. I hope that's the end of it. I thought about answering her. When she said some fairly horrible things about my wife, but my wife laughed it off and told me that's just how bitter losers are, and that I shouldn't bother. So I didn't. Additionally, I have screenshots from her husband in which she discusses the alleged affair she is having with me. You ask, how do I have those? When I realized how much she had lied to me, I realized that practically everything I knew about her husband, let's call him Dave, came from indirect sources. From her, and at this stage I have a suspicion that she may not be the most truthful source of information. I decided to take a chance and text him to arrange a meeting. We spoke for a while. He may be lying again, of course, but based on his statements he never cheated on her, despite her frequent accusations to the contrary. The careless error she committed with his family? Yes, she thought his cousin's wife was getting a little too close to Dave and began intentionally spreading the word that the child was his. Naturally, this sparked a lot of backlash. This was among the numerous factors that made Dave want to leave. In that particular situation, the encounter with me was the last straw. Now that I think about it, her error with me could not have been so innocent. And if my wife or the child's mother had been less amicable about the whole situation, I believe she might have attempted to create a fight. Anyway, things could get pretty ugly because Dave is battling for full custody. I assume he's going to have a rough time, but I'm not familiar with the legal nuances of divorce. He has been a member of the group for a long time and truly likes many of our shared acquaintances. Therefore, he is not particularly interested in having to leave or anything. To be fair, after speaking with him instead of Emma, I leaned toward agreement. We spoke for a while, and he seems like a decent guy, even though I've been mistaken before. I offered some support since. Well, you can probably guess what it's like to divorce Emma from me based on my posts. I totally see why he worries about it. I therefore provided the best support I could and will most likely continue to do so. Regarding my pals, I did not send a group SMS, but I did sort of follow your advice. However, I did provide the majority of my pals with a brief synopsis of the events and a few selected screenshots. This sparked some discussion, a lot of tea was spilled, and some insights were gained about how much of the drama that had afflicted our group over the years was actually due to miscommunications that were blamed on Emma. There was more tea. The wife is having a great time. Thus, yes, even if they didn't actually hear Emma's story, several of my pals were shocked and realized what a clusterfuck this was. There were others who understood. Emma's best friend blocked me, so she didn't receive anything, but I have a feeling she wouldn't be persuaded otherwise, which is probably for the best. According to the majority of people I spoke with, we should probably stop communicating with Emma. Since she has already moved out and Dave owns the house in our neighborhood, we shouldn't be seeing her very often. I do not wish to disparage her. When she attempted to destroy lives, I don't believe she was laughing evilly. I still hope she finds peace and friendships and relationships that will support her through whatever the hell she is going through, because I believe she is a really disturbed person. Is generally an excellent therapist, but she is no longer my monkey, and this is no longer my circus, so I hope she gets the hell out of me. This is when things get a bit complicated with my wife. We are divorcing after my wife admitted that she and Dave had been having an affair for a long period. Of course, I'm joking about the final bit. Could you imagine God? No, my wife is and always has been amazing. She is now free to make fun of me for it, as she had been doing, since it appears that the matter has been mostly settled. A great deal. Although it might take me some time to get over this, we are doing okay overall, and things with my friends appear to have calmed down for the most part. However, I might want to reconsider my ties with some of the people who were more likely to believe some very negative things about me. And yes, that's all. I apologize for not having the crazy showdown that some of you were hoping for. Thank you for reading and for your suggestions. I do believe that this is now behind us.